our guest right now is someone who goes back a fair way in personal history with me. And in fact, he was one of the pastors at a local church with me. And he's now the principal and the CEO of the Bible college that I was a student at. In fact, I dare say, a star student. I'm sure I've got an image up on the wall there. Neale Meredith is with us from ACOM, Australian College of Ministries, mate. Look, don't worry about it. It's too embarrassing to show all the images of stuff that you have of me there, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'll keep the your transcript just to myself so that you're not embarrassed by how well you did. So.
Yeah, because that's what I would be embarrassed about. I remember distinctly the absolute glazed over look on my face in confusion when I first started to try and learn Hebrew, and it was not a very pleasant look on my face.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You probably weren't alone, I'd say.
Yeah, or when the lecturer gave me back my results for my Greek exam and shook his head and said, "I don't know how you did this," and I got a great mark, and it surprised everybody. So I was not exactly that kind of star student. Hey, Neale, we go back to when we first met in life years ago, and this is just our conversation now has kind of just happened. We haven't had a chance to chat for years, but back at that point, you had studied and you had become a local church pastor, but probably didn't have any idea what you were getting yourself in for as far as the stuff that we're going to talk about today, the business side of ministry.
No, not at all. I did a Bachelor of Theology back in the late 80s, early 90s, came back and did a Master's I specialized in Christian leadership. So I did do a lot of leadership subjects. But certainly none of the subjects that I did really prepared me for the sort of, level of leadership that I now find myself in as principal and CEO of a college that has 350 students all around Australia, 25 staff, with a huge scope of courses from diplomas all the way through to doctorates. So.
You were always a responsible guy, so it doesn't surprise me that you got that many people in your care, Neale. Yeah, you're lovely. You're always my favorite. Don't tell all the rest. Neale, we have been chatting behind the scenes, and I guess a part of our passion, and obviously in what you do, but always in what we do, is this concept of growth. Wherever we're at and wherever we're going, there's always some space for us to grow, and it's not always easy to push ourselves into those spaces which are uncomfortable, but the modern world forces us to. We can't avoid it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we are required to continue to lift our game, so to speak, to respond to the rapidly changing world that we find ourselves in. And so, as a college, we're committed to providing a learning environment that's going to do that for those that engage with us at whatever level they might be and wherever they might be as well. So
now when I went through what was started off as Kenmore Christian College and became ACOM while I was there, I think there were two courses when I first got there. It was the Diploma of Christian Ministry or the degree, the Bachelor of Christian Ministry. But obviously, when we're talking about these different areas or ways someone can grow from, the governance side through to internship sides. And I wanted to explore some of that because there was a young guy that came across your path that just had this passion to do something in ministry, didn't know where to get started, but heard about an internship that kind of, partnered with you guys, and his life sort of was turned on its head in a moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. I heard this story at the start of the year. At the end of last year, we did some work on establishing an internship program for local churches, targeted to local churches to make it easy for local churches, no matter what size they are, to engage an intern. If they can find an intern, to engage an intern, either from within or from externally. And so I heard this story about this young guy who was in country Victoria, and through a friend found out about an internship program happening up in Queensland. So he's from country Victoria. He jumps in his car, makes a few phone calls, jumps in his car, gets the okay, jumps in his car and starts driving, has no idea where he's going to live, no idea how he's going to earn some money, knows that he's going to be doing probably a day and a half a week at this local church, lands himself there. They find him a job. They find him somewhere to live, and he's off and running and thriving and really enjoying the ministry learning that he's doing. So well, I'm excited about stories like that. Young people who have a bit of an idea about what they might like to do. How do I get started? Well, here's a pathway.
One of at the other end, I guess, of the extreme is there's a bunch of people that are already in that church full-time ministry. They're pastors of a local church, and maybe there's some different directions, because these days, one of the things that we realize is that to engage with the community, it's no longer just you preach a sermon and you visit people who are in hospital and sick, and then that's what the job of a pastor is. There are schools and childcare centers, and in some cases, my local church is effectively, they're into property and they're landlords. They've created a community center where there's healthcare workers, and they've got to learn about property and real estate and fringe, like all the land sales taxes and all sorts of things that kind of blows the old local church ministry expertise out the window.
Yeah, very much so, Luke. We recognized this a number of years ago, and started down the track of developing what we've called a Master of Leadership. It's basically a Christian MBA. So the idea behind it is to have a number of streams that someone who is looking to fill gaps in their learning to upskill so that they're better equipped for whatever it might be that they're needing to engage with. And so one of those streams is a governance and strategy stream for not-for-profits. So not-for-profit governance, not-for-profit accounting, strategic thinking and decision-making, because many of these people in ministry are, as you say, are needing to navigate the really complex world of compliance and risk, as well as, how do you put a constitution together, and how do you know that you're ticking the right boxes in all those sorts of things, let alone reading a profit and loss statement. Many people just glaze over. They kind of pretend that they understand what they're reading, but really just bluffing their way through. And so we have an expert in that. She's an accountant, both undergraduate and master's level, as well as a Christian minister, and she has prepared a beautiful subject on that people that have gone through it have gone, wow, this is awesome. So there was this guy who was, if I can just jump to this, there was this guy that comes to mind. He was in a smallish church, again in country Victoria, or just on the outskirts of Melbourne. And he engaged with the Master of Leadership, went all the way through, did the not-for-profit stream, also did the leading multi-staff churches stream, and then found himself, interviewing for a large church down here in Melbourne, and he gets the job. And before too long, he gets in contact with me and he says, "Neale, I can't tell you how thankful I am that you encouraged me to go into this Master of Leadership, encouraged me to do the not-for-profit stream and the multi-staff stream, because this world that I'm in now is so much more complex than my previous smaller church. And while it was great and I learned so many things there, I'm having to navigate a community care arm, multiple staff. There's lots of things going on here, a building program, and that Master of Leadership really prepared me for that. So yeah.
Because I mean, the joking environment that we picture of a small local church is the Vicar of Dibley, but the reality is anything but in this modern world. And so
even for smaller churches, Luke, the compliance side of things, the insurance side of things, governance side of things, it's all there. Churches are being encouraged. Many churches are being encouraged, if they're not already becoming incorporated associations. There's strong encouragement for all churches to go that direction, just to protect themselves. Yeah, and that requires a level of understanding of governance and structure, strategic thinking that most degrees don't include in Bachelor of Theology or Bachelor of Ministry. Yeah.
That's right. I believe we had a lot of people engaged in the conversation until you said things like compliance, risk,
Yeah,
profit and loss statement.
yeah, I
And then
know.
there was people in self-induced comas.
The glaze
And
over the eye.
yeah, it scares us too, right? If it's not our natural space, if it's not where we
Yeah,
have trained, developed, but it's not a thing that we can avoid. So we started this conversation talking about the need for growth, and that's
yes.
sometimes it's internal and leadership and character growth, but sometimes it's just upskilling in things in areas of life that we need to have the knowledge of how to spreadsheet some stuff and how to comply with rules and regulations of tax and finances.
Yeah, that's exactly right, mate. I think one of ACOM's strengths is key distinctives has always been spiritual formation, and I think part of spiritual formation is we don't just teach spiritual formation, we do spiritual formation, and so a big part of that is becoming self-aware of what our what our skills are, what our limits might be, what's going on in our relationship with God. And so when we are forming spiritually, we are more honest with ourselves about what our gaps might be, what our areas of improvement might need to be, and so so that's why I think the options that we have to fill some of those gaps in our learning and in our experience are becoming more and more popular. We're seeing lots more students jumping into the Master of Leadership over the last couple of years. Yeah.
Well, and at the moment we're having this conversation because you're engaging with the CMA conference, and there's a
Yeah.
special opportunity where you want to encourage people to have the strength and the boldness to consider exploring this in the Master of Leadership, and in particular in the governance area. And so you've got a special offer on the back of this experience with the conference, and talk to us about what have we got as an opportunity.
Yeah. So we're sponsoring the CMA conference. We're sponsoring the board stream, and we have one of our staff members speaking in the board stream, and we have it on risk, and another staff member speaking in the finance stream on how do you bring harmony to between finances and the leadership. How can that be a harmonious space? And so they're the two focuses that the ACOM team are bringing to the conference. To support all of that, we're offering a textbook package, a free textbook package for the graduate certificate in governance and strategy. And that's a 4-unit graduate certificate, sits in the Master of Leadership, and someone just has to sign up in the next 2 years to make use. It's probably about a $500 textbook package. Some of the textbooks in that space are quite expensive. So yeah.
So you're saying there's some time for us to actually start the program, but so what do we got to do in order to have the opportunity for that free textbook package?
Yeah, at the conference. If you're at the conference, all you got to do is go to our booth, put your name down. There'll be a sign-up sheet there. You don't have to commit to anything. You just have to write your name and your contact details down. And we'll know that if you then, at some point in 2022 or 2023, sign up to that grad cert, then you'll qualify for the $500 free textbook package.
We might see if we can get a link as well if someone's not physically there, whether or not they can reach out. That'd be great. And it's certainly even back in the era when textbooks were much cheaper in a sense when I studied. Like you go through and you think about so many things, and then suddenly you realize you need a whole lot of stuff, and just to have the opportunity to have that all sorted and covered, that's a great start to take away some of the stresses. So. Brilliant.
Yep.
Brilliant work. Neale, I loved, it was, what did you say, 17 years ago when you first started in Islam, and that's probably, it was just after, I think not long after we met, and I came to the one community church where you were associate pastoring, and it was a natural space when I heard you were in the ACOM arm. It was just of course, it was a natural fit for you. But I love to see the development both for ACOM and for you over the years, and it's great. There's what, hundreds, thousands of people who have trained and facilitated into ministry on the back of what the work you've done?
Thousands. Yeah.
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 And you've got a book there of the 75-year history of ACOM. You said you tried to find a picture of me, but you're just not sure that.
Yeah, I struggled to find a picture of you. Maybe I couldn't recognize you without your beard. I don't really.
Yeah.
I didn't have a beard back then or something. So
Yeah, I might have had a little goatee or something, I
you might have
think.
done. So we'll see what we
Crazy,
can do. See if we
crazy
can
hair.
find one of those in our archives. But
I got some
yeah.
photos of me on the campus in Brisbane where I had my hair into tiny little ponytails, all different colors, red and green and pink, and it was in this big kind of spiky sort of multi-mohawk ponytail thing.
Well, I can't believe we didn't include that photo in that photo
Yeah,
book.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah, yeah.
I should pull it out, and then you can like put it front and center on the website or something.
All right, let's do that.
You don't sound like you mean that.
Or maybe we can feature it on our Facebook page or something like that.
Okay, you guys like we can get away with Facebook. That'll disappear quick enough. Hey, Neale, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. Well done on everything you're doing at ACOM, and best of luck with the CMA conference.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.